Picture a TV studio ablaze with raw, untamed energy, a coliseum where two titans of our time collide in a clash so ferocious it threatens to tear the very fabric of discourse apart. Ben Shapiro, the conservative juggernaut whose words slice like a guillotine, squares off against Whoopi Goldberg, the Hollywood icon whose voice thunders with the fury of a life forged in fire. This isn't a mere debate on The View, it's a cataclysmic showdown of logic versus soul, facts versus lived truth, a battle so explosive it sets the internet alight with a firestorm of reactions that still rages. Shapiro dismantles Goldberg's arguments with ruthless precision only for Whoopi to unleash a comeback so raw, so unapologetically human it rockets across the globe, sparking outrage, awe, and a cultural reckoning. We're ripping into their lives, their fight, and the controversy that left millions divided. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and brace yourself for a story so gripping, so divisive, you'll be glued to every word. Ben Shapiro was born January 15, 1984, in Los Angeles, California, into a conservative Jewish family that embraced Orthodox Judaism when he was 9. This wasn't just any kid, he was a phenomenon. At 12, he captivated audiences, playing violin at the Israel Bonds banquet, a prodigy already commanding attention. He skipped 3rd and 9th grades, graduated high school at 16, and stormed through UCLA, earning a political science degree at 20, summa cum laude. Then he conquered Harvard Law School, clashing intellectually with liberal titans like Lani Guinier, graduating cum laude in 2007. But Shapiro wasn't built for dusty law books, he was a warrior of words. At 17, he became the youngest nationally syndicated columnist in the U.S., penning pieces that provoked fury and rallied legions. In 2015, he co-founded The Daily Wire, forging a conservative media empire, and his podcast, The Ben Shapiro Show, draws millions with its unrelenting barrage of arguments. His style? A verbal assault, facts fired like artillery, logic that cuts to the bone, and a refusal to yield an inch. He's no stranger to controversy. In 2003, he wrote a column suggesting Israel transfer Palestinians and Israeli Arabs to end conflict, a stance critics slammed as draconian. He later called it inhumane and impractical, but it revealed his early audacity. He's clashed with everyone from Piers Morgan to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, never backing down. His 2022 takedown of Goldberg's Holocaust comments as insidious showed his willingness to call out anyone, anywhere. By 2025, Shapiro's a polarizing colossus, idolized by conservatives, demonized by opponents, and always armed for verbal warfare. Now, meet Whoopi Goldberg. Born Karen Elaine Johnson on November 13, 1955, in New York City's Chelsea projects, where every day was a fight for survival. Her mother, a nurse and teacher, instilled a relentless drive that shaped her destiny. Whoopi didn't rise to fame. She clawed her way up, defying a world stacked against her. From gritty stand-up comedy in the 1980s to her Oscar-winning role in Ghost in 1990, she became one of the rare EGOT winners. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, a feat that cements her as a cultural giant. Since 2007, she's been the heart of The View, where her unfiltered takes on race, politics, and justice hit like a sledgehammer. She's a voice for the voiceless, a black woman who's shattered barriers in an industry that chews up dreamers. But she's walked through fire. In 2022, she ignited a storm by saying the Holocaust wasn't about race, calling it man's inhumanity to man. The backlash was brutal. Shapiro branded it insidious, and critics pounced. She apologized twice, but it underscored her fearlessness in tackling the toughest issues. She sparred with everyone from politicians to co-hosts, her passion a beacon for some, a lightning rod for others. At 69, Whoopi's a survivor, a truth-teller, and a force who brings her scars, triumphs, and unyielding spirit to every battle. It's early 2025 and The View is a cauldron of tension. The producers, knowing they're playing with dynamite, invite Ben Shapiro, the conservative scourge, to face the show's hosts, including Whoopi Goldberg, whose fire burns hotter than ever. The topic? A school board's decision to ban a book from classrooms, a controversy echoing the 2022 mouse uproar. It's a powder keg, free speech, education, race, and the soul of what kids learn are all at stake. Shapiro strides in, his demeanor ice-cold, his mind a vault of statistics and precedents. Whoopi sits across, her eyes blazing, ready to defend the stories that shaped her life. She argues the ban is an assault on truth, burying narratives that kids, especially marginalized ones, need to survive. Shapiro counters it's about protecting young minds, ensuring age-appropriate content. The air crackles as these two giants prepare to clash, and the audience knows this will be no ordinary exchange. It's a fight that could redefine the culture. Shapiro unleashes first, his voice a scalpel. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't about silencing truth, it's about what's right for kids. A 2024 survey shows 80% of parents demand control over school curriculums. You're waving the censorship flag, but this is responsibility. The audience stirs, he's striking with lethal force. He piles on legal muscle. Bethel versus Fraser, 1986, schools can regulate speech. Hazelwood versus Coolmere, 1988, curriculum control is legal. You're arguing from the heart, not the law. His facts hit like a barrage, each one meticulously aimed. Whoopi tries to interject, but Shapiro's relentless. You're conflating free speech with unrestricted access, and that's a logical fallacy. He snaps, his tone dripping with disdain. He cites another stat, 65% of teachers agree some books aren't fit for young students. You're ignoring the data. The other hosts, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, jump in, but Shapiro swats them away like flies. You're dodging the evidence. A 2023 study showed 70% of parents want books vetted for graphic content. He fires, his voice unwavering. Whoopi's arguments, rooted in passion, start to buckle under his onslaught. He presses harder. You claim this is about truth, but you're pushing ideology over reason. Schools aren't your personal soapbox. The studio feels like a pressure cooker, and Shapiro's in command, his logic tearing through like a buzzsaw. But Whoopi Goldberg doesn't break. As Shapiro leans back, smug with his takedown, she surges forward, her voice a molten blend of fury and conviction. You can throw stats at me all day, Ben, but this isn't about your numbers. This is about kids who need books to know they're not alone. I grew up in the projects, where stories were my escape from a world that told me I was nothing. The audience roars, her words crash like a tidal wave. She doesn't stop. You talk about control, but you're ripping hope from kids who look like me, who live like I did. These books aren't just pages, they're lifelines, they're survival. Her voice trembles, raw with the pain of her past, and the studio shakes with her intensity. Shapiro shifts, caught off guard by her ferocity. She leans closer. You stand there with your fancy degree, quoting cases, but you don't know what it's like to need a story to believe you can make it. You're not protecting kids, you're erasing their chance to dream. The audience is on its feet, the air electric. Even the other hosts fall silent, awed by her passion. Whoopi's truth isn't just an argument. It's a battle cry, a raw outpouring of a life spent fighting. The debate escalates, each side refusing to yield. Shapiro doubles down, his voice icy. You're playing the victim card, but this isn't about your story. It's about policy. A 2024 poll showed 75% of Americans support parental oversight in schools. You're pushing feelings over facts. He cites another case, Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969. It's about balance, not unrestricted access. His logic is a fortress, unyielding. Whoopi fires back, her voice rising. Balance. You're balancing out the voices of kids who need to see themselves in these pages. I'm not talking polls, I'm talking lives. She recounts her childhood, scavenging libraries for books that showed black faces, stories of struggle and triumph. You want data? How about the data of a kid who feels invisible because you banned their story? The audience gasps. Her words cut deeper than any statistic. Shapiro counters. You're emotional, not rational. Schools have a duty. Courts back this. You're twisting this into a race issue. Whoopi snaps back. It is a race issue when the books you ban are about people like me. The clash is a wildfire, each argument fueling the flames. Shapiro quotes a 2025 study. 82% of educators say some content is too mature for kids. Whoopi retorts, mature? Life is mature. Kids live these realities, you're shielding them from truth. The studio is a battleground and neither will back down. The internet can't look away. Clips of Whoopi's speech explode across X, TikTok, YouTube, racking up tens of millions of views. Whoopi just obliterated Shapiro. One X post screams, shared thousands of times. She spoke from the soul, another declares, with emojis of fire and hearts. But Shapiro's fans hit back hard. Ben destroyed her with facts. One post boasts, liked by thousands. The web fractures, some call Whoopi's response a desperate sidestep, others a triumphant stand for humanity. Her words become a rallying cry, shared by activists, teachers, parents, and kids who see themselves in her fight. Posts flood X. Whoopi's right. Books saved me when I had nothing. One user writes. Another counters. Shapiro's logic is airtight. She's just yelling. The hashtag Shapiro versus Whoopi trends for weeks, with memes, reaction videos, and think pieces dissecting every word. Shapiro's clips gain traction too, with conservative accounts hailing his masterclass in debate. One viral post reads, Ben brought a bazooka of data. Whoopi had no chance. But Whoopi's raw emotion resonates deeper for many. Her clips shared by celebrities, educators, and civil rights groups. The controversy spirals, with op-eds in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal debating the clash's meaning. Was it about free speech, race, education? The divide is stark, and the world picks sides. Shapiro doesn't flinch. Post-debate, he takes to the Daily Wire, doubling down. The View tried to ambush me, but facts don't bend to emotion. His supporters amplify his message with X posts like, Ben exposed their hypocrisy. Meanwhile, Whoopi addresses the fallout on The View the next day, her voice steady but fierce. I spoke for the kids who need these stories, I'll never apologize for that. Her fans rally, sharing her clip with captions like, Queen Whoopi spoke truth. The clash reveals a chasm, logic versus lived experience, data versus heart. Shapiro's arguments were a steel trap backed by court cases and polls, 80% parental support, 65% teacher agreement, legal precedents from 1969 to 1988. But Whoopi's passion struck a nerve, her story of growing up in the projects, finding solace in books, resonating with millions. The internet keeps fighting. Conservative X posts praise Shapiro's undeniable victory while progressive voices call Whoopi's response a defining moment. One viral thread reads, Shapiro's facts were cold, but Whoopi's truth was fire. Another retorts, fire? More like smoke, Ben's data one. The controversy fuels protests, parents at school board meetings clutch Whoopi's words while others wave Shapiro's stats. This wasn't just a debate, it was a cultural fault line, exposing a world split in two. That's the saga of Ben Shapiro and Whoopi Goldberg's earth-shattering clash, a war of logic and soul that set the world ablaze. Shapiro wielded facts like a blade, cutting through with court cases, polls, and unrelenting reason. Whoopi countered with the raw, unfiltered truth of her life, a cry for kids who need stories to survive. This moment on The View wasn't just a debate, it was a reckoning that shook our culture to its core. Who won? Shapiro's ironclad logic or Whoopi's searing heart? Drop your take in the comments, I'm dying to hear it. This story's too big to stay quiet. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for more battles that define our times. Check out the full debate clip on YouTube or join the war on X where hashtag Shapiro versus Whoopi is still raging. Keep fighting, keep thinking, and we'll see you next time.